a little bit, hassled less. But junior high school sucks. That's just all there is to it. I don't think there's any way to get around that. So, and I had a regular kind of acting career anyway during that time. So I was, auditioning and working on television all the time anyway. So people in my school knew, what my deal was. And I was living in Los Angeles, and I wasn't the only professional actor at my school. So they're, not that unusual. So that's it. Yes, I'm very cool.
That's great. And Angus said yesterday that you have a really exciting next film coming out that we should all pay attention to, in particular the two young leads. So can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, that's something I haven't mentioned the entire weekend, is that my new film is entitled John Dies at the End. Actually, thank you, based on a best-selling novel by David Wong, which is not his real name. It's a funny story. The guy's real name is Jason, but it's funny because the book is as told to David Wong, and David Wong is the star of the book. But anyway, I wanted to mention that the young actor that we cast to play David is a Dallas native, and he fresh out of acting school, named Chase Williamson, and the guy is just so wonderful, and I'm sure that for many years to come you guys will be seeing him at conventions, because he battles a lot of interesting demons from other dimensions, and so I think he's firmly ensconced in the genre now with the rest of us. But the movie is really cool. It's about perception and the street drug called the soy sauce that has sort of extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional powers, and people travel to different worlds. Some super cool other actors in the movie. I got a chance to work with one of the guys I just geeked out over was Clancy Brown, because I'm a gigantic Starship Troopers fan, and Sergeant Zim was one of my favorites, and he has this just larger-than-life magnetic personality, and I'm sure everyone must know by how well he plays these genre roles, as Clancy is really maybe a bigger genre geek than I am, and he was so excited to work with me, because he knows the Phantasm movies, so I figured here's a special cat. But got some other wonderful talent in the movie. Paul Giamatti's got a great role, and then also, and he's a terrific actor. And I also like to mention that Doug Jones from Pan's Labyrinth, and he's Abe Sapien in Hellboy. He has a completely non-rubber performance. There's no prosthetics on him, and this guy is a magnificent actor and really underutilized, and he's going to surprise some people in the movie. So keep an eye out early next year. Hope you all look for it.
And one of the common grounds that we all have here is we love horror films, and I think some people would probably love to know what some of each of your favorites are.
Well, it all starts from the beginning. When I was a young lad, I was heavily influenced by a couple of major eras. Obviously, the Universal monsters is where I got started. Frankenstein was my guy. I loved Frankenstein. The Wolfman and the Dracula and all that stuff was just great. As I was a kid, those were the guys that terrified me. But then I also came up in an era where on television they were playing a lot of movies that were like reruns from the 50s, and these were, that had more monster and sci-fi connotations. And so you can already sort of see the parallels of probably how I got to Phantasm, in which I had my classic monster in Angus, and yet at the same time I was obsessed with, extraterrestrial sci-fi explanations for the horror. And so that came out of movies like Invaders from Mars, and then of course Godzilla was a big influence on me. Currently, there are a lot of great movies coming out. I recently saw Human Centipede. I love the movie. Previously, a few years ago, we had a great chance to meet the lovely actress from Audition, the Takashi Miike, and the Japanese, or as they called it, the J-horror, was a great era. But I think horror is eternal and it's ever changing, and I'm a fan, and I'm looking for what the next thing's going to be, and hopefully next week I'm going to see it.
When I was a kid, I had made the huge mistake of disobeying my mother, and I went and somehow got in to see The Exorcist. And I couldn't leave the theater when the movie was over because I was frozen, petrified, completely freaked out in my seat. I have never been able to see the movie again. Not on TV, not anywhere. I don't plan to ever try to see the movie again. I was totally freaked out by that movie, and I just completely believed it, all of it. Hook, line, and sinker. So I really didn't ever want to see any scary movies after that. And I have been afraid of horror movies ever since then. Now, with that in mind, I think The Shining is probably my favorite scary movie. So Kubrick is my favorite filmmaker, next to Don Coscarelli, of course. And The Shining, for me, is, I think, the great balance of kind of all that stuff, all in one perfect movie. So that's my story.
All right. Well, let's get a few more questions in from the audience here. It's not a hand, that's hair. All right. Okay, right over here, sir.
I've seen a lot of horror movies, slasher movies, all of this, and they're entertaining, they're bored. So when I saw Phantasm, I was just and that was the scariest thing I've seen. I was just, those balls flying in the air,
And for those of you in the back, he was saying that Phantasm was one of the scariest movies that he's ever seen. You heard that a lot?
Once or twice, but what's funny is the time has gone by, though, and obviously good friends with Angus, and of course having made the movie and watching it over and over again, it's hard for me to see that. So I really have to see it through other people's eyes, and like using you as my guide to tell me which parts of it worked and which didn't, because I have to be truthful. There are scenes in the movie that God, I shouldn't go on record here, but maybe didn't play exactly as the way is intended. There's that terrific acting sequence, and people may not get it, when Mike and his brother Jody are battling that demon bug in the house, and they're working their way down the stairs, and as an aside, obviously there's nothing inside that jacket that they're holding, and they're completely acting it all the way down. And I thought that this would be kind of creepy, but people seem to take a little more humorous attitude towards it, so just to let you know that every scene didn't come out the way we had intended it. But I will tell you, though, that there was a reality to the acting that Mike, as a young man, brought to the thing. There are moments where he's creeping down the hallway. He knows the tall man's in the house, and you can see the way his hands come out and kind of work their way along this narrow hallway. It's almost like acting-wise, he condensed the hallway. And then you've got this ability, this gift, this dark gift that Angus brings to it, and where he summoned that from, who really knows, but he's able to channel it onto film, and so just fortunate to have that.
Well, and we were fortunate yesterday to have him give us a good boy with the face and everything. So he certainly has it. Right back there.
Yeah, who came up with the song that Jody and Reggie were singing?
Who came up with the song that Jody and Reggie were singing?
Well, there is a little dispute about that, isn't there? No, there's no dispute. Bill Thorne.